Are you that person that the beginning of the new year, you're looking around your home and you're like, oh my God, where did all of this stuff come from? Maybe you got loaded down with the holiday gifts and you're like, what the heck? Like, where is all this stuff going to go? Maybe all of the excess in your home is just causing stress and anxiety in your life. Today, I have a special guest that's going to help us break all the things down. Help me welcome Michelle Hoff to the show.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in. All right, Bus Bench babes, I have a really special treat for you today. We have Michelle Hoff, and we call her Michelle Home Coach Hoff here with me today. And I met her through eWomen Network, one of my networking groups that I'm involved in. And she's just one of those people that she spoke at our luncheon one month. And I was like, I want to be friends with her. And now we have like connected on a friendship level. And she wrote an incredible book called Compassionate Decluttering, How to Soulfully Surrender Your Stuff. And so I thought this is going to be such a great topic to talk about on the podcast. So that's why you're here. Welcome, Michelle.
Yay, it's wonderful to be here. Thanks so much, Beth.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I have been digging around in people's houses for about 30 years. I started a commercial and residential cleaning business when I put myself through college. And my degree is in horticulture and landscape management. And I did that for a couple of years. I only needed to do it for a couple of years, actually. But I loved the business. Cleaning houses, for some reason, was really soothing to my soul. And I could feel the benefit from my clients. They're going off into the world doing amazing things. And I'm supporting them in this way that felt really nurturing to me.
That's special.
Yeah, it was really special. And I loved it so much, I did it for 10 years. And then feeling a little need for creativity and love of design, I needed to get out of my cleaning business, and I spotted Room and Board. Their design aesthetic is so amazing and resonates so much with me as a Scandinavian. And I got a job there.
Well, for those listening somewhere else in the country or in the world, Room and Board it's Minnesota-based company, right?
Is. Yep.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous furniture store that it all is very like European. It is so cool. It's very elevated. It's very gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the company is incredible. I was just going to park myself there for a year while I figured out what else I wanted to do. And the company just enraptured me. It's such an incredible environment. Love their philosophy of values that drives their business. And it has actually played a huge part in the development of my book, Compassionate Decluttering. I ended up working there for 10 years.
So cool.
I know. It was a great opportunity, but I was restructured out of there. And luckily, a temporary receptionist in Room and Board told me about life coaching. And that launched me into a space that really put the pieces of my passion together. I love life coaching. It is how I operate in the world, out of curiosity and joy and support in people's dreams and goals. So I combined that in my love of design and home into a business called Design Within.
So cool.
Where I was using life coaching principles and design aesthetic, design principles and painting and organizing and decluttering and fixing broken things and just other design things. And I would help people access their values and really they were not that interested. Honestly, they just wanted me to paint. their living room or help me pick out a color and reorganize my furniture and help me buy a new lamp. So I did that for quite a few years as well, 7 or 8 years. And I realized, you know what, I want more out of this coaching stuff. So I got myself a master's degree at St. Mary's in human development. The best thing that came out of that was my thesis called, very thesis-y, How to Recover Your Authentic Self Using Life Coaching Principles and Home as Your Medium. Well, it became the genesis of my book, Compassionate Decluttering. And it took me a long time to put that book together, but that's kind of where I've been, and I've been doing life coaching now for, I started a business called Home Coach Hoff, and I'm a virtual home coach, and I don't go into people's houses anymore. And this is a great way for me to help other clients access their own wisdom and their own vision and values to create a loved home that they're proud of.
It totally makes sense because all of the things that you've done just perfectly led you, the path perfectly led you here.
It really
It's really
did.
cool. Sometimes, when we were talking about before the show started, we're like, what are we going to do when we grow up? Well, we've been doing it. You were on the path. I am on the path. We are all on the path of where we should go.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that real deep listening to
Yeah.
what our soul really needs
That's really
and
cool.
wants. So,
Well, how did the name come about, the Compassionate Decluttering for the book?
well, that's a fantastic question. And I never had a name. It took me 12 years to write this book. And I never had a name for the book. And I'm working on the book. I'm working on the book. And I went to see a publisher, Dara Beavis of Wise Inc. Publishing. They're in Northeast Minneapolis, a female-run publishing company. And I started to explain to her the journey I take my clients, or my reader at that point, my readers on, through self-exploration, forgiveness for mistakes they've made in the whole housing situation, loving compassion and curious questions and activities about how they can get to know themselves better.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, honey, that's compassionate decluttering. And I went, yes, that's exactly what it is.
Ding, 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 ding.
So I was blown away that it was so close to me in my work, but I was too close to it almost.
Yeah.
And with her, distant, her having some distance from it, she picked up on it really quickly. It was beautiful.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, what role does our emotional connection to things play in our ability to declutter? Let's just dive right into all the hard stuff that people really struggle with.
They really, really do. There's so much in that question. Absolutely, Beth. There's such pain in creating home in people's lives. People bring along old habits, patterns, obligations, beliefs, and ways of looking at their stuff that really isn't even their own at times. But they feel tethered to a lot of shoulds.
Mm-hmm.
And my book really gives them an opportunity to disconnect with some of that obligation and just get clear within their soul about what's really important to them. Because this emotional space people can be in is paralyzing, and it causes a lot of pain. It can be shame, embarrassment, stress, anxiety. There's so many other emotions, but those are the typical ones that surface a lot with clients that I work with. There's a lot of teasing that people have lived through, and the clients I've seen, how they cleaned their room or didn't clean their room, and how all the judgment that people feel, maybe from near family members, strangers, the media, about those wonderful coffee table magazines that are beautiful and make home look spectacular. I mean, there's just messages there that I'm not good enough. I can't do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, why do you think people tend to accumulate so much stuff?
Well, it's a great question, and it's unique to every single person, right? And it takes time to understand why that is for each person. And the work I do is helping people individually understand that for themselves.
Okay.
Digging into old beliefs and patterns and habits and, what really fits for that person today. Yes, they were told to always save the twist ties on the, bread bags or whatever it may be. Do you really feel like that's important to you today,
Right.
And the never throw anything, you might need it one day stuff, which is the Oscar-winning excuse in life. It's the fact is that really true? All the stuff that you have kept over the years, how often have you really needed that? And if it costs more than, less than $20 or $30, you're probably going to figure out you can buy that somewhere else and let go of it and remove the amount of crap you have that you're really not going to need one day because it won't really function in the way you thought. And ultimately, we're more creative and clever than we think to deal with it if we don't find that thing that we let go of. Yeah. I just think we have to give ourselves kind of to start fresh with our emotions and our reasons for accumulating stuff. Do we really need it? Have you checked the inventory in the old pantry, before you went off to Costco?
I'm the worst at that. Like, damn it, I already have 4 cans of Rotel. What the hell was I thinking? I don't need 4 more.
That's exactly right.
Yes, it's the worst.
So, we collect things because we do it out of a habit or just not paying attention. And we need to sort of set better limits and have better boundaries on what crosses our threshold in our sacred space. And knowing what you actually need and in your house is one of those starting points.
That's really good. Are there particular life events that you think happen to people, or either emotional triggers or life events that start leading up to like why someone gets their house really cluttered?
Well, an everyday conversation for one person can be a triggering conversation for another. Again, it's super personal. What are those? It's about getting in touch with yourself and knowing what are those triggers for yourself. And in my book, it's a working journal. Honestly, I ask a lot of curious questions about. I have a chapter on attachment and sort of helping people understand why they even have the things they have in their on their walls, in their drawers, on their bookshelves. Because we're walking around our house, hours and hours a day. And the attachment chapter is really take a look at that, picture of that, squirrel that you have on your wall that you maybe got from Aunt Betty. Is it really something that you would go out and buy today? Just really start analyzing what it is about the stuff you have that fits your lifestyle today, and detaching from just understanding more about why it is you purchase or have these things in your home helps you kind of take control of those, not eliminating the triggers, but managing those triggers that pop up. I think the process of introspection is critical in the connection with your soul in this process, hence soulfully surrendering your stuff. And compassion is about soothing the soul that is triggered and knowing how to take care of yourself in the process.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit nervous for you coming over here today. Like, man, she's got a lot of stuff. She's a perfect client.
Hey, Not at all, man. This is the wonderful thing about Home Coach Hoff. Honestly, I will tell you that I don't care what your home space looks like.
Yeah.
Honestly, what do you care about your space?
Right.
How does it
That's a
reflect
good
who
way to-
you are? There's
Yeah.
no prescription of, 3 things on a mantle,
Right.
and 4 pens. You only get 4 pens per whatever floor. It's not about that. It's really about how do you want to live in this space and if you love it, I'm in love with it for you.
I love that. Okay, good. That helps take away the judgment that I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any common patterns or themes when you're working with your clients who struggle with like disorganization and clutter?
Wow, everybody is so unique. Like you and I sitting across from each other, our experiences are so different. And I guess the common denominator for most of my clients is that they are tired of carrying the pain of clutter and equally determined. My clients are incredibly tenacious. They will not give up on the dream of having a home they love. And they've sacrificed their values and their creativity and with this oppression and pain of the clutter they've been living with. It's really powerful when they've read all the decluttering books, they've had the organizers in, they've watched the influencers, and I come to them and we come together and start talking and working together. And more than one group of clients have tossed out every decluttering book they've ever had because they said, this internal work is the work that I needed to do to understand what I believe, what I want in my home, not what everybody else has been telling me or the shaming messages I got. It's a really beautiful space for them to reclaim their vision and their values and their goals for their home and express their creativity. I mean, I'm telling you, these clients of mine they were bogged down by judgment, family judgment, anybody in the world judgment, just totally paralyzed by judgment from others, and wouldn't have people in their home because they felt there was a ton of judgment if they saw whatever. It could actually, a lot of the homes look very lovely, like yours as well, but it's what we do on the inside of our soul that really you can't see when people have stress and anxiety around clutter.
It's interesting. So I bought your book originally. I'm not even going to lie. I bought your book originally for my mom. And then I started reading it and I'm like, oh boy, there's a lot of principles I could take to heart here. So then I'm like, hey, Michelle, can I get another copy so that I'll give my mom one and then I'll keep one?
Yeah.
So
I hear ya.
yeah, it was super funny in that regard. But it's, you look around and you're like, there's so much stuff and why do I have it? And some stuff I really love and other things you're like, this could probably go. We don't need this for other things. But then I'm also married to we'll call him a collector. We're using air quotes, a collector.
I know these people.
Oh my God, it's so much.
Well, there is that balance of, a couple people in a space. There's a lot. We each come with our own idea of what home looks like and feels like. And
yeah.
We're responsible as much as we can for our own stuff. And
that's what I'm just on my journey. I'm like, I'm decluttering my spaces.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that maybe some of the organization will rub off on my significant other for his spaces.
Yep. That's exactly. I have gracious clients who do the same thing. They're really just letting others respond to the changes they're making.
Yeah.
And they're making changes too. So it's really beautiful.
I love that. So what are some of your go-to tricks for helping people start the decluttering process? Oh, and we've got Birch in the background. We have Birch as the guest person here.
It's the most important thing, tool and trick to access is your vision. Absolutely your vision. For you to understand where you want to be when all this stuff is gone, what's life going to be like? You're going to open your door. You're going to feel different than you've ever felt before. So what's that feeling that you're going to have? Exhilaration, calm, peace, joy, whatever those emotions and feelings you want to have when this clutter is gone, that vision will compel you forward to make decisions about stuff, because your reticular activating system in your brain is so powerful. Once you say, I want this in my life, that baby snaps on.
I love that. Yeah.
And it's picking up on, the feel that you want. And so you can scan your space and you can see, oh, that thing's interrupting my vision. I don't want that anymore. And you start getting rid of stuff easily, more easily than not. And then as life's disruptions and distractions come in, if you have a really solid vision, it will sustain you through that chaos and distraction. And, life happens, right? You have to end up in, whatever, traction one day. Who knows, but my clients, once they have this solid vision, they move through with such clarity. And since I'm a virtual coach, I have referral partners who help them actually activate the decluttering and
the boots on the ground people.
Boots on the ground people.
Yeah.
So that's really fun to see that, them carry the team forward and with this solid vision. It's really beautiful. And they get so much more done so quickly to reach that goal of the house and a space that they love. It's so exhilarating.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to people when they're dealing with sentimental items? I'll have so much sentimental crap in our houses. It's so hard to get rid of.
Oh man, I know. It's simpler than you think, quite honestly. The perspective I give my clients is, it's yours now. Really, really forget the history. Look at it as a piece of furniture or an item that is yours now. Would you go out and buy it again? Do you love it? And if you don't have to keep it. Permission granted to let this thing go. Find someone else in your family who wants it. Take a picture of it and create a little photo book where everybody who knows about this wonderful Uncle Frank's dresser, they can add their stories to it if they even have.
Yeah. Most of it doesn't have that much meaning. It's just like a story in your head, I think.
Well, exactly. So again, be honest with yourself. That tenet of self-honesty is critical to this process, because it's your soul telling you what's really important, and making, as you honor that, you start trusting yourself more, because you're taking better care of yourself, and it just frees up a lot of stress and anxiety and obligation to these items that have a history that you may or may not be attached to. It's permission to let it go.
I'm going to replay this episode for my husband. Are there specific decluttering methods or routines that you recommend for busy families?
Most importantly, it's a learning process. Boundary setting, decision making, including every member of the family in that process. You got to teach your kids how to make decisions. If you just, go through their paperwork at the end of the day and toss what you think is not important, they're really missing out on that opportunity to create a value distinction themselves. What's really important to me. And if you give them 2 or 3 things and say, which is your favorite, you're teaching them to make some decisions about and teaching them how to let go of stuff. So including training and learning in the process of all of us, because we have to relearn that ourselves if we weren't taught to set limits and boundaries. You know, a typical drawer has a capacity of so much, right? And, you know, I hate to say it, but if it doesn't fit, you must omit. You know, like you can only have so much stuff. So to be able to make choices and decisions around what you have is a skill. And you can't teach someone young enough to help them learn that skill. So typically, the tips and tricks are in that decision making. It's a powerful tool, and you need to also understand what comes into your house is clutter. If you state it in that way, or potential clutter, let's just say, and is it good? Is it something you really need and want? And taking it through that filter of it could be clutter. Is that something you really want to bring in your house? So again, it's this form of setting up new boundaries for stuff along the way, because this mindless sort of acquisition and incorporation of stuff, it's getting more conscious about what is going on in your home and being more mindful of what you really want to have in your home according to your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the internet's doing us any favors when you can just like get bombarded by ads and triggered by things that you know, AI knows that you're interested in, and then you're just like click the button and it arrives 4 days later and you're like, when did I order that? It's terrible.
That's that consumerism Netflix series I'm telling you about. It's
I need to go find that.
You gotta. It's really eye-opening, and like the social dilemma about social media.
Yeah.
It's how we're being manipulated as consumers, and it's kind of maddening.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend it.
My gosh, I've had so many friends like just do like put spending freezes on, and I'm like, I should probably do that. Or stop using my credit card. Ryan's looking up the show. What's it called?
Buy now.
Buy Now.
The shopping conspiracy.
That's
The Shopping Conspiracy. Okay, Netflix. It's on Netflix. All right, we all need to go watch that.
It's mind-boggling. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So it's decision making and limit setting.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you got to figure that out for your own self. Everyone's got their triggers.
I feel like you just answered my next question, where I'm like, what are the best ways to declutter and organize after to stay organized after a big decluttering effort?
Yeah, it's having, again, understanding. Sometimes if you take a picture of what you're proud of after you've done your decluttering and snap a few shots in the house of what that looks like and how it feels, every week or so, take those pictures out or have them someplace where you can look at them and give it a scan around the house and see where you're starting to, sort of declutter or get clutter again.
Fall back into your old habits.
Fall back, right. That's what I was going to say, relapse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, is that still the limit? Is that photo that you took truly the limit that you need and want in your space? Well, obviously you get back at it, And if your limit has changed, understand why and what you're allowing now, and if you're still content with that space and as proud as you were before. It's just having that litmus test of what's good, what's the lifestyle you want to live in your home.
I love that. Do you have tips for helping people develop a healthier relationship with material possessions? That was a little bit of an evil laugh.
Okay, how to develop a healthy relationship?
Yeah, with material possessions.
Man,
it's a loaded question, kind of, right?
It is. I mean, again, everybody's unique in what is healthy. The pieces of your life that are impacted by excess, that stop you from creating and living the fullest life you possibly can get and want, That is the litmus test to what's too much, and what's healthy for you. If you're moving through your life and you're all the flywheels are churning, your relationships, your sense of peace and calm, your health, and levels of stress are at a that are comfortable for you. That's fantastic. Whatever you have in your home, it doesn't matter the stuff. It matters the quality of life that you have in your space and with the stuff you own. A healthy relationship is about is very personal, and you are the one who knows best what that healthy relationship is.
You said that really beautifully. Yeah. How can decluttering impact someone's mental health and emotional well-being?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so the actual act of decluttering. Wow. There is such an incredible amount of emotional, spiritual, psychological space that opens up for someone who declutters. Again, if it's the space that they want, if it's the space. I'm trying not to be judgmental here.
Yeah.
Because there are people who have just tons of stuff in their house, and it's a beautiful space for them. And to declutter is to remove, like a candle from the bookcase.
Yeah.
And to the degree that makes them blissful and happy, it's personal.
Yeah.
And the work of a coach is not to tell somebody how to live their life. It's to use clarifying questions and powerful questions to help them identify what is a healthy home for them and see what shows up, and do activities around getting rid of things and seeing how that feels. Sometimes we get rid of things, like on a bookcase, we get rid of 10 things and live with that for a few days and see what that feels like. And if they don't even notice that it's gone, that's they're still learning what their healthy limit is, if you will. What I do tell my clients to do a lot is to remove everything from the bookcase and then start putting things back. And to the degree they start to feel anxiety or stress as they're putting things back, that's their healthy limit of what should be in that bookshelf. That's kind of an exercise that's interesting to do for everybody, for people.
I think like when people think about decluttering, I think like the first thing that pops in my head is like really like a minimalistic lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not saying that. You're like, everyone has a different threshold, and like what's that comfort zone for you is going to be different for me. It's different for Ryan. Like it's different for all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, the book that I wrote is really about self-discovery and getting you to understand who you are, what your tolerance is for excess stuff, and what rules and patterns and beliefs are that you're living under, and what roadblocks do you have to making decisions or changing your behaviors. It's getting clear. And everybody is so different. So that's what I love about coaching people through this decluttering process.
We've talked about this a little bit throughout this show, but like, what does soulfully surrendering mean? Like, what does that mean to you? And how can it transform somebody's life?
Yeah. I'm actually a spiritual person. And I sense the soul is our original self.
Okay.
And the work of decluttering in our life in general is to find our original self, our original truth. And it's about being honest with ourselves. What do I really need in my life? What do I really want? And knowing that some of your needs and wants are going to disappoint someone else around you, having practice around voicing your needs and wants in a safe space in my working journal, I think is a super valuable component of life in general, and especially around our stuff and decluttering. The soul is the whisper that we hear and we know, but do we always listen to it? No, we don't, because of all the conflicting obligations and letting people down and disappointing people. It's really difficult in today's society, especially, maybe it's always been, to really listen to what our soul has to say. But that's the work within this working journal, Compassionate Decluttering. It's a private exploration of what really matters.
That's really beautiful. Can you talk about any like powerful transformations that have happened in some of your clients' lives and how it made their lives better?
Yeah. It's
without naming any names.
Yeah, no, I value my clients' privacy a tremendous amount. I've had clients that have lost their husbands and have held on to quite a bit of their memorabilia for years. Mm-hmm. And when we worked together, she woke up one day and realized, I am so tired of being sad every time I look at that stuff. And she let go of it.
Yeah.
She had beautiful other pieces and memories that were joyful, and those are what she wanted around in her house, you know? And it was life-changing for her in a way that brought more joy to her than she'd ever expected, because she was afraid to let go of this stuff.
Yeah. You almost gave her permission to close a chapter.
She gave herself permission.
Yeah.
She really gave herself permission.
And it's a great way to put that.
Yeah. And I had another client who has been just tortured and teased by others in her family about how she kept her room. And because she was a little quirky, you know? And she suppressed that for like 40 years. And finally, we got together and she started discovering her quirky self again and celebrating that part of herself. Just with such joy and giddiness that, and this quirky stuff was not any more quirky than anybody else. Like,
right.
It wasn't anything scary or frightening. There was nothing wrong with it. But the acceptance, self-acceptance was just, and it still is. We're still working together, and it's she and her commitment to her vision and connection to who she is as a creative human being just has exploded. And there's no stopping this woman. She's just incredible.
That's
and
so
there are
cool.
others that they're dancing. They've got an open door policy in their homes where there was never an invitation for anybody to come in. But today it's an open door policy, and setting aside any judgment that anyone has ever, just eliminating the noise of judgment. It's been really beautiful. And she's lost weight because she doesn't carry the stress and anxiety of, and the tension of those messages. It's really cool.
It's crazy to see that like an area of life that seems so obvious that someone needs to deal with, and then how that snowballs into so many other areas of life. Yeah. We talk like these principles that you're talking about in decluttering. We do that. We talk about this a lot on our team. Like when I'm here working every day, and like we might not get a deal, or we might lose a deal or something like that. And I just keep reminding myself more than anyone, but then Carrie and I will talk about it. And I'm like, the universe is just opening up more space for even a better opportunity to come along. Absolutely. And sure enough, the next day the phone will ring with someone you're like, well, never in my wildest dreams would I think I would get a call from that person that wants to sell $1 million house. Yeah. So it's interesting how it translates for me in my real estate business, but for your clients with their decluttering in their spaces.
Yes, it's like that energy of holding on to things is busted through. And what's available, and they're hanging on to this stuff out of fear and obligation and all that jazz. But when they bust through that roadblock, you're absolutely right. So much fullness and richness comes into their lives, and ease, honestly. It's really beautiful. It's fun to watch.
I love all this. So if somebody's listening that feels really overwhelmed by their clutter, what's one small action they could take today to make it less stressful?
Yeah. Hey, come on my website and set up a 30-minute free discovery call for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely. Let's just talk about what your goals and dreams are. What's your vision? Where do you want to be next year at this time? You know, what's one project you'd like to get off your to-do list? And, you know, give them some tips and help, and, you know, I mean, help them understand what they would be capable of and want to do in that goal that they want to set, and get started. Let's get at it.
What's one piece of advice you wish everybody knew about decluttering?
It's an inside job. It's a total inside job.
Feels like the mic drop. You're like, Ryan, I think that should be the quote of next week or this episode when it goes up. Ryan's in here with us, making sure we don't screw up the technology piece of these things.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It starts from the inside, and also stop looking at your stuff and start looking within to find out what really matters to you in your life.
Oh my God, that's so good, Michelle. Where can people find your book, first of all, and then where can they connect with you for more guidance on all of the things?
All of the things. Okay, well, you can connect with me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. My book is on my website.
And you're under what? Home Coach Hoff on Instagram?
Yep.
Home Coach Hoff, Hoff.
Correct.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn as well under Home Coach Hoff. And my website, homecoachhoff.com.
Yay.
And you can get my book there, and I'd send it to you with a signed copy, or, of course, Amazon. I'm actually an Amazon bestseller in household hints and relocation and moving.
That's awesome.
So I'm on Amazon. I also have an audiobook, because if people didn't want to clutter their home with a book, they have the audiobook.
That makes sense, yes.
And the resources, activities and such are on my website for those individuals, and an ebook, of course. So those are the places I can be found.
Yay. Well, thank you for being here today for this conversation. I think there's a lot of tidbits and takeaways that really anyone, even if your home is tidy, like that you can take away, that it's an inside job for sure.
It's an inside job.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear.
Well, thank you. So until next time, bus bench babes, keep your face off a bus bench and keep being the badass boss babes that you are.
Okay, girls, are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.